here at the halftime as part of the halftime interview. Mr. Morel, first of all, it's a pleasure to have you up here. Of course, the Lady Privateers trying to battle against it with Nicholls State. Fell behind a little bit early, but first of all, pleasure to have you. Welcome to the broadcast.
Oh, thanks, Manny. Thanks for having me on. It's always, hell, I'll do this every time if you have me. This is great. I mean, I enjoy coming up and visiting with you. It's an exciting game. I think Nicholls got some pretty good players, and you mentioned KK Babin. I was talking with their athletic director before, and she's been very impressive in the first half. So I think we're going to have to do some things to stop the ball and her penetration, because on top of her scoring, she's done a great job passing the ball and finding the open man, and I think has done a nice job with the bounce pass. So we'll do a little better job on defense, but I'm sure Coach Carter's got him in there, and we'll hustle him up a little bit and get him ready to go and make some adjustments at the half.
And we saw those adjustments play out in the second half of the Northwestern State game. Of course, a tougher ask, especially tonight with the coaching of Doobie Plaisance and what she's been able to do, not only at Nicholls State, but at a program here in the New Orleans area, what she did at Loyola before that. And that's kind of the mold that we see. These coaches that are here, and we know they're here for the long haul, whether it's Kim Young-Buford with the volleyball program or Mark Schlesinger with the men's basketball program, Keyshawn Carter with the women's basketball program. Across the board, these are men and women that understand the task of bringing their individual programs back, but they're ready to accept it, and these players are as well.
Well, no doubt. Everyone's excited. It's beyond excitement to describe the feeling of the student athletes and the coaches to be firmly rooted in Division I, understand that we're not going anywhere else, and that's where we are today. That's where we're headed, and we expect high levels of excellence. We understand, Manny, we've got to put resources behind that. You can't just happen overnight. You can't just stand up and say, hey, we're Division I, look at us, and everything's going to happen the way we want it to happen. We understand that right now, all the infrastructure of our program and the resources were dialed back to a Division II level program, maybe even farther back than that. So we're slowly but surely putting that into what we're trying to accomplish. We know our student athletes they're passionate about what we're doing. They love the school. They love representing UNO. We've told them from the get-go it's our priority. Their experience at UNO is our priority. Their welfare at the University of New Orleans is our priority. And I think for our fans that have come last Friday night for our exciting doubleheader here and have come last night and tonight, they see that we mean business. We've made some major visual changes to our facility with a new floor and some shot clocks and some new signage, and the entertainment value, I think, around our product is increased year over year from last year and the year before. And so we're trying to make it a family event. We understand what that means in this city when there's a lot of entertainment options, and we hope people will come out and give us a chance. And we know there are a lot of folks out there that are UNO proud, Privateer alumni, and parents of students, and we know if you come out, you'll have a good time. We'll treat you right. And but for our program, we're going to expect high levels of excellence. When we get in the Southland Conference full-time next year, we're going to expect to be able to compete for championships, and I wouldn't have coaches on our team that didn't expect that.
And you talked about the experience for the fans. It's a lot more interactive experience. We see different teams that are supporting the women's basketball team and vice versa, supporting the volleyball team. You see the men's players coming out and supporting the women's basketball players, and just all across the board. And the fan experience. And last Friday night, you talked about that. It felt like a Division I crowd. And I know there's steps still to take, like you mentioned. But to be able to get the support behind it from the students and the fan base and fellow athletes as well from other sports is obviously very critical, and it's something that had been lacking in the past, but something that you guys are really focusing on bringing back. And it seems like one of the first steps, isn't it?
No question. We understand it's more than just the game for the fans and the alumni and the people who are interested in our program. It has to be more than just the game. It has to be more for the students. There are 101 excuses and reasons why not to come and not to try out the product. We have to try to eliminate those excuses and make it as enjoyable as we can and as easy as possible. We went to the extent on Friday of running our own shuttle bus, and our golf coach, Coach Carter, and our tennis coach, Coach Kanga, drove the shuttle bus to pick up students back and forth from campus. That just goes to show you how everybody has bought in. Everyone understands how important it is as we grow this program to get people engaged. And I think when people step back and look, and they see how much our student athletes support each other, as you're mentioning, how much our coaches are on campus and engaged. Head Coach Schlesinger's serving food in the cafeteria on game days. We're always out on campus trying to make people aware that we're not a world away. It's a couple blocks, sure, but it's part of campus, and it's not difficult to get to. Give it a chance, try it out, and we think you have a good time. And we know we're only as good as our next supporter and our next fan. We know we need people on board. We've got to widen our web, cast a bigger net, so that we can get people involved and help us grow this program together.
and talking about, of course, some of the things that you guys are doing and some of the things that you guys have done already from a business perspective and just a promotional perspective to really start to bring UNO back. It's been tabbed as the renaissance of UNO athletics. Just talk about some of the things that have already been put in place and some of the things that are coming on the horizon that UNO fans should be excited about and looking forward to.
Well, one of the first things we had to address, Manny, when I had the privilege of coming on board to work for Dr. Foss in this role, and when I say we, everything we do is a team. I mean, we're inclusive. We work together. We consult each other. That's really important to know that we're growing this thing together. Is we had to look at our I mentioned before, the resources and the experience for the student athletes. A big part of that is our respective staffs behind our head coaches. Is there enough personnel support behind our student athletes? So the first thing we did was to hire assistant coaches, because none of our programs were at a level where we had a full staff. We still don't today. But we went out and we hired assistant men's basketball coach, assistant women's basketball coach, assistant volleyball coach, assistant baseball coach. We hired a head track and field coach and assistant track and field coach. That was important. We had to get that done because that shows a commitment to our student athletes that we know the more attention they have, the more we have people there to not only develop them physically as athletes, but also emotionally as individuals, help them grow as people and develop them academically, which is so important. We need people to help that, and good people, and good character people, and that was important to do that. We have to build our organization, our administration. That's an important part as well. Compliance, academic support, strength and conditioning, all areas that help our students become better at what they do. And the better they are, the better they represent our university when they're out on the road or they're in our community. And then our program becomes the foremost marketing resource for this university, and that's what we're about.
And it seems like every game that we play against, especially future Southland competition, against Nicholls State, we have a lot of state schools, of course, that with UNO joining the Southland as a full-fledged member in 2013. I look out in the crowd and I see people from Nicholls State, fans from Nicholls State as well. It's not only an audition for us and to bring more of our own fans here, but really an experience for some of those traveling fan bases within the state that want to come down and see games as well in an arena that certainly has some seating available and is one of the better arenas in Division I as far as the Southland Conference level, one of the best arenas that you could find. Just talk about that and how it's an audition for really getting this house as packed as it could be.
Well, I'll address that on two levels. I mean, you mentioned our facilities, and I would argue with anybody that we have the best facilities as we enter the Southland Conference. I mean, certainly our arena stacks up to anyone even beyond the Southland Conference, but in that league, I believe we have the best. Our tennis facilities certainly would stack up against anybody in the league, and then once we're complete with our baseball stadium renovation in about a year and a half, I would rival that against anybody as well. Facilities are so important because they attract not only fans, but that's what student athletes and prospective student athletes look at when they're considering our institution. And looking at, people have asked me, what about the Southland Conference? Why is that a good fit? Well, first and foremost, we're so fortunate to be accepted as a member of that family. I mean, that is a big thing for us. It gives us identity as a university, identity as a program. On top of that, Manny, what can that do for us? It puts us in a position to compete against schools where we have some maybe natural rivalries built in with the Nicholls that's here tonight, McNeese State, Southeastern, Northwestern State. And then also for our city, it's a great thing. It gives the Southland Conference an anchor, a media anchor, but also for our city an opportunity for us to have some economic impact on the city by fans driving in from, I think, 7 or 8 schools last I counted, or easy drives into New Orleans for their fans. And I'm going to tell you what, when Lamar comes to town, or Sam Houston, or Houston Baptist, or Northwestern State, or Stephen F. Austin, people are going to say, let's go spend the weekend in New Orleans. And that's going to fill hotel rooms and restaurants and make a lot of people happy in this city. And then we feel like we're doing our part to give back to a city who cares so much about us.
It's certainly the steps toward the building process and steps toward building a much better UNO athletic program, and certainly some proper steps that have been taken already. Mr. Derek Morel, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the game, and hopefully we can get a comeback.
Thank you. Let's pull it out. Go Privateers.
All right. Thank you.